I like to say this on my show over and over, and it's good to have someone who can explain it. I say that what do you call a system that takes the richest country the face of the earth has ever seen and renders half of its population poor or low income? I call that a failed system. So, how did we get to this point where we have the richest country in the world where half the people are poor or low income?
Well, I couldn't agree with you more. I mean, if you look, just to give you an example, this last week, a citizen of the United States named Jeff Bezos had wealth in his own personal name go over $100 billion. In other words, he can write a check for $100 billion. Now, let's take a look at what that means. Out of the 50 states in the United States, there are 14 states who in an entire year, all of their citizens producing goods and services don't add up to $100 billion. So this man by himself has the economic clout bigger than 14 out of the 50 states. Let me give you another example. Africa is a continent that has 54 countries. Out of the 54 countries, only 4 of them have an annual output of goods and services more than $100 billion. Mr. Bezos is richer than 50 out of the 54 countries in Africa. I mean, you'd have to go back to ancient Egypt and the Pharaoh to get this kind of obscene wealth concentrated in the hands of a tiny number of people, while, as you put it correctly, half of this country can't really put their kids through college without enormous debts, have trouble meeting their expenses. In other words, we haven't made progress in this country. We've gone backwards to the kinds of society we thought we had left behind.